How you feeling?
Feeling good. Yeah,
You're looking good.
Look at the baby.
Oh.
That's crazy, bro.
Crazy.
Okay, well.
We're about to have one of those.
Yeah, I know.
That's
Get
crazy.
your sleep now.
I know, right?
He's
Scott said, get your sleep now.
Why Scott got on the ultimate dad hat?
Hey, I really did. It's the anniversary. I said, I'm crossing over. I'm officially a dad now.
Right.
Oh, man.
Super dad right now.
Are you recording, DG?
Yeah, we're good.
Okay. So the main thing that, I just wanted to get together with you guys. Dez is going to come in a little later. I don't know when. But I know I talked to him a lot, so he probably going to hop in and just ease his way into the conversation.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah. But now I got this idea because one of my close friends here, he got a couple people on a phone call, and the main thing was just they all got on a call and we just had a conversation about everything that was going on, and everybody was in different realms, and it was cool to hear because just to have understanding of how we feel about it, because obviously we all have probably untapped, untouched feelings that we don't get to really talk about or resolve because like we got our everyday lives going on. You know what I'm saying? I know for me as an athlete, it's just like always about working out, and then it's always about taking care of my fiance, making sure the baby is okay, and running errands, this and that. But like, this is an actual thing going on in the world with like the George Floyd thing and seeing that happening. And obviously, this has been going on for a long time, and me and Courtney talked about it a little bit, just like, man, like, one is like, she asked me how I felt about it, and I was like, man, it's just sad. This has been a tough year with everything going on, then like, it's just sad and it's scary because like stuff like this is going on, and about to be parents, and you know, how am I going to be able to explain this to my son? And then like I'll get a text from my mom and she'll be like, hey, like, what are you doing? Are you okay? This and that, you know, just random. But now really understanding like where that text comes from, and it's more because she's worried that her son, I could just be out working out, but she don't know somebody gonna think that I'm a threat to them because of me just being black. You know what I'm saying? Like, and seeing this, that makes her think that, you know, and it's not right. And you know, it's like, man, like we're raised to, I know a big thing that I was telling some of the guys earlier was just like, man, like I know I'm raised to like win no matter what. It's like you're just kind of programmed in a way of like, you go to school. I've been to schools and I'm one of only two black kids at the school, and it's like, man, you gotta win regardless. You gotta do well in school regardless of the circumstances. You gotta play well in sports regardless of the circumstances. You just gotta do that because like you no excuses. You know what I'm saying? Like you just raised that way, and your black mother and father raised you that way. Like you gotta win at all costs, no matter what. And so I want to be able to teach. I want to be able to teach my son that, but also, like, you know, like I don't want any excuses from you. Like you got to be able to get it done regardless. But also, like, to understand like what's right and what's wrong. You know what I'm saying? And just like stuff like that. So I wanted to talk to you guys. You guys are my close friends, and I was like, man, like I wonder how they're feeling about it. What's going on? Like this is a big thing. This is, you know, it's taking over the world, you know what I'm saying? Like we have all these protests going on here, and like it's a huge thing, and this is a reaction to like hundreds of years of all the stuff going on. And, you know what I'm saying? Like just kind of starting the dialogue of like, how can we do our part to help be better? So I'll open the floor to you guys so you guys can speak on however you guys feel about it.
I mean, so for me, I think I had a similar reaction maybe to you, Gary. Just having Cairo here, and then just growing up, the Midwest is different than the West Coast, and I don't know if a lot of you guys have been here, but it's hard to explain. But racism is definitely thicker here. It's still very much present, and that's not to say that there aren't plenty of people that are white or whatever that aren't ready and willing to help, and they're not racist at all. But the history of that, Missouri was a slave state, so that is deeply rooted in Missouri and in the surrounding areas. We're the Midwest, but we're South. We got Southern culture. Missouri's right above Arkansas and Alabama and all that. Yeah, Carol. So I saw it a lot. And one big story that my mom always tells is, I was like 9 years old, and we had, you got ADT or the alarm system in the house or whatever, and I guess it had gone off, and none of us had heard it. It was like a silent alarm or something, some feature on it. So the cops pulled up, but my mom's in bed, my dad's, I don't even know if he was home, but my mom was in bed. Me and Skylar were in the shower, and Ronnie was like a baby, so he was in his room. And all of a sudden, you just hear people say, come out right now. And I thought somebody was playing, so we're like in the shower. I'm like, what's going on? And they kick open our door. Like they had come all the way upstairs. They've now come into our entire house. It's dark, it's nighttime. They got flashlights and 3 guns pointed at me and Skylar. We're in the shower and we're butt naked. And they're making us get up against the wall. I'm like, with the gun still pointing at us. And so I remember being frightened. My mom is begging them, please take the guns off my sons. We live in this house. They were in the shower and they are who robs a house and brings their kid, their whole family? So that instance there kind of just, it stuck with me for a long time. And I knew, man, my mom wasn't like, that wasn't a fairy tale. She was serious when she said, you have to operate different in this world. So I remember just being in that instance and realizing really, like, it's not a game. It's not a joke. I really have to, people really see me as a threat. I'm a 9-year-old boy. Like, I don't have muscles or nothing. So, how am I a threat? And I'm butt naked. Like, what can I possibly have on me? I'm a fingernail this guy to death. But it just, it just kind of really shaped my view, where I was like, wow, it's a real thing. And so my mom, she always tells that story, and I've always remembered that. And so I say that story to say, when I saw the thing about George Floyd, I really didn't want to watch it, because it's just, like you said, it's just tiring to keep seeing all that stuff. But at the same time, we need to do something to make an impact. But I finally watched it reluctantly, and I literally broke down. Like, I was sobbing, and I was shocked that it like really took me to that point. Not because it's not something that's sad and that I see all the time, but that it just really hit me. And I thought, here Cairo's like, to me, he's the cutest baby ever. But somebody sees him as a threat when he's old. Like, eventually he won't be the cute baby anymore. People will see him as a threat. And it really broke me down. Like, I can't believe that. And I know that's how every parent looks at their child. Like, how could you? I know that's how George Floyd's parents were probably looking, like, we know him as the cute little baby and the man. I mean, apparently he was active in the community and all that. So people are really like, if it happened to him, man, it can happen to really anybody. So that's where, those are kind of my initial thoughts on what you said on the George Floyd thing, and just kind of where my mind went, and especially being here from the Midwest. So that was.
Appreciate that, bro.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Dad. Go. Yeah. Did you? Okay. I feel like it's still setting in. I think as I continue to hear more stories and hear how people felt and watch more of it, like on TV or people's Instagram posts, it just, I don't know, I think I'm still shocked that it gets to this point. Like it's been going, like Gaddy said, it's been going on for years, but the fact that we still have to deal with it, and then, I mean, it honestly deters me from wanting to have kids. Like I don't want to have to worry, like imagining being George, like Floyd's mom, and being like, this is my son crying out for me while he's taking his last breaths. I don't know what we can do about it. I think watching Michael Todd's message this Sunday was really helpful because he gave some steps on like what we could do. But I guess in a way I'm a little bit discouraged just because I know that there's probably been little things that people have been trying to do all these years and it hasn't gotten us anywhere. I like that there are more people potentially listening now. I guess I'm hopeful that they're listening and that we can do something about it, but I just don't know like what that road looks like. So I guess I'm more frustrated still.
Yeah, I mean, I guess we're trying to make sure we don't talk over each other. But for me, it's just like last week was like super weird, bro. And it's like it sucks because sometimes it seems like there's no end to it. You feel me? Like it seemed like it's a cycle. And obviously it's a cycle from back in the day when racism was like as thick and they was rioting in the 90s and the 80s and they was protesting and different things like that. But what I mean by it's a cycle is that it seemed like just the other day, Trayvon Martin, we was in school and
Right.
the Trayvon Martin situation happened. And then next thing you know, like Eric Garner and all these other people, Sandra Bland, then it just kept coming up and then it kind of died down for a little bit. And then it just sparked up again. And it's like, bro, like I don't understand how people don't see what's really going on. And it's shocking to me, but at the same time, it's not because it's been happening. And sometimes it seems like it's not going to stop happening. But what I will say is that, like, even though last week was rough for me, this week is starting off on a better note because, like Brent said, I've seen like videos of like a group of white people, you know, praying and praying and telling the black brothers and sisters that they had in front of them, like, we're sorry. We're sorry on behalf of like all white people for treating y'all this way. Like we're part of the reason, you know what I mean? And I saw pictures of like this cop got separated from his platoon and
Yeah, I saw
a
that.
bunch of black people, you know, holding hands and protecting them. You feel me? Like
Yeah.
that's the stuff that I like to see, and I get more emotional on that rather than the killing because it's sad to say, but I'm almost numb to the killing part.
Yeah.
It's like I see that stuff all the time, but for me, it makes me emotional because the hope that's there where the people are coming together, where the white people and black people are coming together. And then I've seen pictures of Asian people, white people, Japanese people, and people in other countries, you know, putting up like we'll never understand, but help us to, you know, try to understand better, but we're here for you. Stuff like that. I'm glad we're able to do those kind of things, you know what I mean? But the situation sucks. As far as your question, like how can we help? I don't know how we can help. The only thing I can think of is Christ. But other than that, it's like, man, we're living in some evil times for sure.
Appreciate you, bro.
I don't know. Can y'all hear me? Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you, G.
Okay. Yeah, for me, I feel like this week I really just it's been like kind of just reflective. Like I've just been thinking a lot. Like one of the main things that has stood out to me is just how I feel like as like growing up as like a black man, you really have to kind of like accommodate to white people. Like you got to make them feel comfortable
Right.
without even realizing it. Like if you go and operate in certain spaces, like you're trying to get to college, you're trying to interact with teachers or go to certain schools, like you have to, like, you learn at an early age to, you learn like microaggressions and things like just that, like white kids don't gotta know. Like you learn like, because you're a threat at the end of the day. That's how they see you. They're like scared of you, and that's what it is. That's why they act the way they do. And that's just kind of what, I don't know. I've just been piecing all that stuff together and just seeing all this stuff is kind of triggering. Like, I don't know. It's just crazy. I think of, just conversations. Like, I don't got kids, but I think of like those conversations I had like with my dad sitting me down, being like, if you get pulled over, like, you got to do this, like, listen to what they say. Yeah, don't argue with them. Like, he didn't sugarcoat it. And he was like, because they'll, excuse my language, but he's like, they'll fucking kill you. Like, that's like literally what I was like 8. And he was like, just straight up, like, and I just have that like burned in my head. And yeah, I don't know. I just think about all that stuff. And I feel like, I personally feel fortunate that I had like, there were certain, like, I think of just certain white people in my life that like loved me and cared for me. I think of certain coaches and just stuff like that. So like, I know that they're not all bad, but then like also being exposed to white people that don't rock with you. And then you go in certain spaces and you can just tell, you can just feel it. It's just off. They don't like you. They're just uncomfortable around you. And then, like I said earlier, just trying to be accommodating without even realizing it. Like, I don't know. It's just different. Yeah, I don't know. I've just been processing everything, just reliving certain things, thinking about everything. I don't know. It's crazy. But.
No, I appreciate that, bro, man. Like, I think it's just good just to have the conversation, just because obviously you guys can hear it. I know like, it's just a frustrating thing. And like, we're all trying to navigate, like, what do we do about it, or how do we get better from it? You know, like, do our part in the world. We're not going to be able to change it as one. Like, we can't do anything singular. I think we all know that. Like, we're only going to be able to create change as a group. And I think like we've had people like Colin Kaepernick and Dr. Martin Luther King. They're all people who like have shown that like we got to do it as a group, or we got to do it as like one, as a unit. I ain't gonna be able to do much by myself, but we do got to do our part. And it's just crazy, like, just to hear just even like some like a police officer pulling you over, and it's like my first thought, because me and Courtney have been pulled over before, and I was like, man, like, I'm kind of cool when police pull. Like, my first thing when I think about police is not protect. They don't protect me. It's like my first thing is if he's like Scott said, they see me as a threat. Like, he pulled me over, he's gonna walk to this window and see what color I am first. You know, he's not thinking, let me protect this individual in this car. He's thinking, what color is this person right here? And that's a problem. Obviously, like, that's a problem that's, you know, when you're a kid, you're thinking, oh, police, make sure I'm okay. Yeah. You know, they're supposed to make sure I get to where I need to go. If I'm a kid and I'm lost, you know, police will help me. And then as you get older, you're like, nah, he ain't doing that no more. It's right. He might. What are you doing over there?
Yeah, hold on, slow it, back up. He's like,
bro. Yeah, like, man, I'm eating Skittles. I'm an 8-year-old kid. Like, I like Skittles. Right. You know what I'm saying? Like, so those.
I guess I keep wondering, like, where is this like innate and irrational fear coming from? Like, I know that there are rough areas that cops have to navigate, but not all the cops is in there, man. This is cops that's driving around in places that are not scary.
Right.
They still see black, like, what are you doing out here? What do you mean? I can't be black and be out here in a mainly white area. What does that have anything to do with anything? This dude ain't never. So for me, I don't know. I keep asking these questions, and again, like what you're saying, I think Darnell touched on it too, is like the hope. We do need to talk about what can we do to move forward, but it does, you know, I don't want to be so hung up on like, oh, they did this and they keep doing that, but at the same time, they did this and they keep doing that. So it's like, it's not like we're trying to stay stuck on something. You guys keep doing it. And but at the same time, yeah, it's tough, man. It's like, how do we? I think what you're doing is good. Like having the conversation,
Right.
it starts there because a lot of people don't even want to talk about it, and they just, they dismiss it or. I was talking to Mel about it, and I don't know, I forgot exactly what we were saying, but I remember in the AFRAM class. Remember AFRAM, DG? You probably remember AFRAM. Yeah. So I had an AFRAM class that was specifically, it was a summer course, and it was specifically on ethnic studies. And on this day, we were talking about black and white. And they said, who here feels that there is still racism in the world? And I was like, oh, I mean, come on, what kind of question is that? I thought everybody was gonna raise their hand. Me and Vio were in the class, bro. I promise you, if we can find Vio, go ask him about this class. I wonder if he remembers this day. We both raised our hand like we were the only two people. I think there was one other black dude that raised his hand. And I looked around, I was like, they must not have heard the question. There's no way. Right. And that was the first day. I promise you, that was the first day I realized. And I'm 20, like 21. That was the first time I ever realized that people genuinely believe. Like, they're not just trying to make up this fantasy thing. They genuinely believe there's no racism, probably because they don't experience it. But my thing is, like, every black person can't be making this up about it. Right. You're basically saying you are all lying.
That's a great point. That's a great point.
So I'm like, we can't all be lying. Like, every black person has a story of some racist event in their life. And I hate using every and all because it's hardly ever true. But I'm pretty sure that's true. You can pretty much say 100%. If you're a certain age or above, they all. So anyway, that was my.
Gary, you were gonna say something?
Oh, yeah, there's a couple things. One thing to your point, I was thinking about the same thing. Like, I feel like a lot of those cops, like, they don't know black people. Like, they didn't grow up around black people. They don't have friends that are black. So, like, most of the stuff, they just hear it. Like, they're growing up in a bubble and they're hearing, you see the stuff on TV, you hear the music, you see the stuff and it's just another planet to you. And a lot of them, they're not policing their own where they grow up. So you grow up around in your little safe bubble, and then you go to these areas, and this is your first time interacting with a black dude, and it's a complaint, and so you're scared. Like, and that's just how they process it. And I mean, in that sense, I kind of feel bad for him. I kind of feel bad for him, but that's my rationale. So like, I know this dude probably, just not to just say I'm just looking at him, but you can tell like he probably don't know like. I don't know. And then to Gaddy's point, like, what's funny is I remember like the first time I really realized how conditioned I was to like cops in America, like just being overseas. When you see cops, they look different.
Bro, it's way different.
Bro, they dress different and their cars look different. So I didn't care. I was like, you're a mall cop for all I know. I didn't have the same fear. Like, when I saw those cops, I was like, I was like, I didn't realize it. And then I came back to America, and you see cops that just like tighten up. And it's like, it's a little different. But I didn't, that was when I realized how conditioned I was to be nervous just because the history is so different. But I don't know, I just kind of related to that. So.
No, that's crazy. It's crazy. You guys could literally, if like, I'll have Courtney tell y'all the story, but like when we got pulled over, like you could tell the difference between how I was talking to the officer and how she was talking to the officer.
We don't need that ticket.
I'm serious. I'm so serious. Like, it was like,
bro, I've been in situations where you gotta chill.
I was sitting here like, yes, what do you need from me? Like, okay, like, hands on the wheel, okay, let me get it, this and that. She's like, what are you pulling him over for? I'm looking at her like, oh.
Right. Chill.
But not, and like, you know, not in a mean way. It's just like, because he kind of did pull us over for some bull. And you know, she had a point. But
it ain't for you.
Like to Garrett's point, I'm so conditioned to just go like, to freeze up, to be tight, because I'm like, man, I don't know what he gonna do. Exactly. And I could be coming from just a place of like, man, sir, like, I just want to know what I did.
Yeah,
that's it. But I can't, in my mind, I can't just no. Survival. I'm trying to live.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's just like,
Oh, sorry.
man, what's up, Des?
Yeah,
welcome
man, with the
welcome to
tank
the
top
team.
on,
Yeah,
Right.
look at that.
flexing on us.
Did hop on with the tank
You
top.
get-
You
you
got
Shining
got
on his
GPS
face.
on.
Like,
Man, we got the taco meat out.
Got the
Taco meat
glove.
out.
Out here. Pushing
What
90.
time zone are you on over there, Dad? Yeah, only place with the sun out.
Best time zone. The best time
Man.
zone.
Crash.
Well, Des, since you just got on the phone, you gotta. Well, you don't have to, but we would like for you to share. Everybody else has pretty much shared of their feelings of what's been going on, like with the George Floyd thing, how they personally feel about it.
Yeah.
And they've kind of just gave their, they kind of just been open about it so that we can all understand each other, have an open conversation about it, and then how best to even go forward with it. You know what I'm saying? Like, man, we're just kind of just brainstorming and talking about it, being open about it. Like, this is a forum. I know for me, it's like therapeutic just to hear from my close friends, like what's going on,
Right.
what can I do, or just even hear them out. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Man, I feel like when, like, people can only take so much, I feel like. And, like, I'm not surprised at the reaction. I think a lot of people right now I think they love to, like, have something to distract them from, like, the real cause of it. So, I mean, I've talked to G about this with, like, people, like, that have so much to say about the protesting and they want to comment on looting and all these other things and not actually talk about, like,
The issue.
why these people, like, why we are reacting the way we're reacting. Like, why are we outside, like, angered? Why are we frustrated? Why are we pissed off? Like, let's talk about why, right? You're so caught up on the what. Like, let's talk about why we got to this point. We're not, you know what I'm saying? We're just not irrational, just jumping outside and everybody's outside pissed off. Just, I don't know why they mad. I don't know why they outside acting like this. Like actually take it. How about if you actually, like, look at it and understand why, as a human being, you can't, just as a human being, if you put yourself in our shoes, like, for real, and just say, all right, be in our shoes and tell me how you would feel.
Right.
If you had to live with this kind of paranoia, you know what I mean? You had to deal with this type of frustration. You had to take, like, being belittled by, like, a police officer. Like, I've had, like, experiences with, like, police officers when they, like, just, I mean, they'll talk reckless to you just for no reason. You know what I mean? And it's just like, sometimes you gotta sit there and take it, because it's like, I know if I want to, like, really, if we were man to man, like, we wouldn't be having this conversation, like, without this uniform. But because you have this uniform on, like, you know, I gotta bite my tongue. But as a man, like, that still can be frustrating. Like, and I mean, just, like, in general, I feel like with, I mean, all that we have to endure and have to supposedly, like, just cringe our teeth and, like, deal with, like, it's not, to me, it's not shocking. Like, I don't understand how people are so surprised. But I think, I mean, I can see why people are surprised, because they don't really want to acknowledge, like, what's really going on. So, I mean, it's extremely frustrating. Like, I just looking at my nephew, and I, like, see all this stuff happening, and just, I look at my nephew, like,
Hello?
He hit a dead
it's
spot.
sad.
The iPhone 4GS.
Stupid.
Here y'all go. I had a Galaxy for, like, 10 years. I get an iPhone, and y'all still on my line about my iPhone. I get from this
Hey,
S to
hey, you
XR,
stay on
y'all
our
still
line
on
about
my
everything else. We gotta get on
Man.
your
Man.
Man, I can't win. I can't win.
You shouldn't have been with that weak
Yeah,
Galaxy that long.
Is that a chirp phone there? Where you at?
Okay, I got it. It's
He
okay.
got the sidekick. Flip.
It's cool.
I ain't gonna zoom y'all. I'm gonna aim y'all.
It's cool. I got heat for all y'all, cuz.
He said, I ain't gonna zoom y'all. I'm gonna aim.
Oh.
Yeah, funny. But that's pretty much it for me. It's just like, it's just frustrating, and it's more like people's response to it. Like, I mean, they want to like get away from like what actually happened and like focus on, well, you know, we're looting. That stuff. Like, it's frustrating.
We gotta get you a
That's what again? What happened?
We
I
gotta get
can't do DG. I can't do DG, bro.
Looting.
DG. DG be like,
I was like, huh? What's that? What was that?
Y'all can't hear me?
No, you good, bro. What happened to Brent? Oh, that's good.
oh man. But no, I feel you though, Diz, bro. That's real though. Like that goes to the point of like, I think DG said that same thing. Like people just don't want to hear the why, pretty much, as compared to like the what. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I think that's important, is like to understand why this is going on. Like, yeah, the looting and all the stealing and all that, that's all like, yeah, not right. Like, I agree. Not breaking into stuff, this and that.
Right.
I understand. But the reaction is like, it's almost like a kid throwing a tantrum because, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you're throwing a tantrum because he's upset.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, that's what's going on. It's like something right didn't happen. So now we are upset. And people don't, you know, there's protests, there's this and that. And then it's like, but there's just a lot of stuff that's going to happen. People are emotional right now because it's like, all this is going on. You know what I'm saying? And like to Bryn's point, like, she don't want to have to think about any of her boys. I'm sure Bryn don't want to have to think about any of her brothers on this phone call. Yep. When we go work out, that somebody, like, are you okay? Like, no, she shouldn't have to think that. She's like, no, he cool. He just going to the gym to work out. Right. Or he just going to the hills to run hills or whatever it is. Like, you know, like those things.
Right.
And
one thing
go ahead, bro.
If I can add, I think one thing that I've been thinking about that really is, everybody's not called to, you know, everybody is not their thing to go out, protest, and be out in the streets. However, you could just continue to raise awareness. You feel me? Like the posts that y'all be posting, I'll repost them because I, you know what I'm saying, I like what I see, and that helps. Because like y'all saying, some people don't understand. They don't want to understand, but sometimes you really gotta keep throwing it in somebody's face for them to finally realize, oh, okay, I get it now. And for us as Black people, we feel like, well, I know me personally, I feel like, yo, even if you get it later, as long as I'm just throwing it, putting it in there, eventually you're gonna catch it. It's the same thing when I'm, you know, when I'm trying to minister to somebody, when I'm trying to lead somebody to Christ. You don't gotta badger them, but every now and then, you know what I'm saying, just throw something in there about Christ. Throw something in there, plant that seed, and eventually it's gonna stick. You feel me? So I feel like that's the same thing with raising awareness and stuff. And just like Gaddy's point, like, I don't agree with the looting. I don't agree with, you know, beating people up, killing people in the middle of the street, because what is that gonna prove? However, what I do feel is warranted is the temper tantrum effect. You know what I'm saying? You're constantly doing something to people or doing something to an individual. Eventually, they're gonna fight back. And you cannot. So if there's socky in my chest and I don't do nothing, and there's keep socking me in my chest every time you see me, sock me in my chest. If I steal on him, he can't be mad that I stole on him, because he for the last 2 weeks he's been stalking me in my chest every time he sees me. So it's the same thing with Black people in America. You feel
and
me?
it really be equivalent to like the last 400 years he's been socking me in the chest.
Right.
Right, exactly. So for
real.
400 years,
right,
we've been getting this type of treatment. We've been treated like we're less than. We've been in slavery. We've been segregated. We've been, and still today, with all these black people in power, we still don't have the means for white people, or we still don't portray ourselves well enough for white people to say, oh, they got it together now, they deserve our respect. Some of them do, but the majority of them don't. And the ones that don't are making it worse for all of them. You know what I'm saying? And it's tough to see, it's tough to deal with, and it's like, yo, we're really a part of history right now. Like, this is gonna be told years later. Like, this is something serious, bro. Like, I was a baby when the Watts riots was going on, when the LA riots was happening. So I didn't see that stuff.
How old are you, DG?
I'm 31.
No, I'm joking.
Get out of here, bro.
He was a baby, bro. He was 10 when the
The only one that can say dang is Duty. The only one that can say dang is Duty. And Duty getting old now, too. Duty,
right?
like 27, 28?
28.
Look at
oh!
See? I'm getting
old. There's right behind me.
Yeah, it's right there.
Right behind you.
Young Bran right behind you, right there with y'all, too.
I'm above it.
Still young.
Okay.
Just a little bit. I'm right here.
Right here.
Yeah.
But no, DG, one of the things you said earlier is that this has been going on for a while, but it gets forgotten about. So I think what you're kind of saying is like continuing to put it out there is something that we can do, because it does get forgotten about. Like, just back when I was living in Seattle, Black Lives Matter was a thing, but then it died out. You didn't hear about it anymore. And then this person died, then this person died, then this person died. And now we're in 2020 and now it's a thing again. You know, it's not just, oh, look at Floyd died, like all these other people. It's like hashtag Black Lives Matter. So it's coming back up again because it continues to happen. But I think what needs to happen, like you were saying, is we need to keep reminding people. It doesn't need to be something that dies out. It needs to be something that's constantly worked on.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, I agree. I think that I mean, it was good just to be on the phone talking with you guys. I think that like DG said, a lot of things that we can do going forward is one, like just putting those things out. Like, like you said, don't badger people. Like, I'm not gonna just be like, oh, hey, like Black Lives Matter every time I see somebody.
Good morning, Black Lives Matter.
Right. But like, you know what I'm saying? If you want to have that conversation, go, hey, like, you want to have that, if you want to have that conversation, we can have that conversation openly. And then, like, you know, posting on social media here and there. And I think that we got to continue to teach. I know this is one thing that I was telling my brother about. This is something I'm going to teach my son about and talk to you guys about. It's just like, man, like, we got to teach our Black people about like longevity, and like going into DG's point, it's just like not letting things die down, because like Black people have a habit of like, whatever's hot, we go to that, and then whatever's hot the next time, we just do that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And like, we just move on from it, you know? Yeah, like our culture is kind of like, and they see us that way. And we got to be able to be like, nah, like this is going to be forever. So like, when we change the culture, we're going to change this forever. When we're trying to change the system, it's like, no, like, Black lives do matter. This is going to be a forever thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, you want to always think about everything in longevity. You want to think about your marriage and longevity, not like, oh, just for the now, but for forever. Like, I'm your dad. I'm going to be in your life forever. Like, you want to be able to teach these things, because not a lot of us are like getting enough of that, to be honest with you. Like, the only thing we think about as far as a forever thing is survival, like playing sports, but not like in everything that we do. Not even like when we're working and like saving up money. You want to be like, man, I'm thinking about like
future.
We're thinking about the future. Like, I want to make sure that even when I pass, that like my son, you're taken care of, and then you can take care of your future kids as well. You're setting them up for forever. And we got to just continue to do that. I think also too, this was a thing that I thought of. I've always been like super unaware when it came to like voting. I always just voted like So like for Obama, I was like, I didn't know anything about Obama, obviously, until he got into office. Before, I was just like, I'm just voting for him because he's black.
Hey,
Right.
I would proudly
Which is
say,
true.
I would proudly say I didn't give a hoot what. He was black.
Right.
I said
he was
I'm
black.
voting.
I'm voting for him. He's black. I'm voting for him.
He is getting in office.
Enough said.
Facts.
Nah, real talk.
The
And
first
I think
time. The
that-
second time I thought about it.
I think
I'm
going
out here
forward,
for black men.
we should. I think going forward, I think we need to educate ourselves. I know I do, for me personally, educate myself more on who's gonna be in leadership
Yeah.
and like what are they about, like what, because they're gonna be in positions of power to change the world. And it's the same also like locally as well. I know
Yeah,
that
that's
was a
what
big
I'm
thing. It
saying.
was like, man, I don't even know who my state senator is and my state governor, like my city mayor. I don't know them because honestly, I just worry about my own life, this and that. But these are people in power who like have say so in what's going on in our education system and, you know, Boys and Girls Club and this and that. And these are the real things that are affecting our world. So I'm like, man, like I need to know more about this. I need to know who's in power, who I need to vote for, who's really for people like me, who's gonna be for my kids, you know, our kids. Like, I need to like get more information on that, look into that, you know what I'm saying, like more, because I think like going forward is like we gotta vote more, especially on all levels, and to be able to put people in power who have the opportunity, who are really gonna be able to fight for us, you know, in bigger spaces. I think that's a thing as well, that's just like doing our part, you know what I'm saying? And even like telling people younger than us as well, like, man, like really look into it. Because I know when I was younger, I wasn't, but I'm telling you to do it because y'all are seeing this stuff go on live. And like, I want y'all to understand like that people who can really affect some change on a higher level can do that for you. But you gotta like find some information on it, like, or look into it, see who's really for us. So
to go off that point, like I think a lot of times I think back to like slavery times. Like, what's one thing they did? They tried to break up our families. Like, they tried to separate us. Like, they didn't want us to read. They didn't want us to be educated. Like, they didn't want us to vote. Like, people were literally getting lynched for voting. So, like, I know for me, I feel like I have like responsibility to exactly what you said. Like, I gotta learn this politics stuff. Like, I gotta like listen to a podcast or however I get it, just so I know who's who and what's what and how this stuff works and all that stuff, and just being informed. And then like, yeah, like family stuff, like just trying to look after my family in any way I can. Cause I just know, I feel like that's the best way to fight racism. I think it comes down to not just on a national scale, like voting and stuff like that, but on an individual scale as well, just being informed and being like an educated Black man and being somebody who's like present with those around me and caring and doing that kind of stuff. Cause I mean, I feel like that's how they divided us and try to break us down and strip us of everything. And I feel like their biggest threat is us empowering ourselves. So I totally agree with like just being informed. I mean, I'm the same way. I wasn't really like following anything. I think I was in high school the first time Obama, I think I was like a senior or something like that. And then
Yeah,
like
I
the
was
second,
saying.
yeah, and then the second time around, I was like, I was like overseas or so, I don't even know. But now is like the first time where I'm really like looking into everything, and I'm like really following this stuff and reading this stuff first thing in the mornings. And yeah, I don't know. I think this period is going to change our generation for sure. Like, we're going to be more informed than ever. Like, I think back to like the old heads who survived the 60s, they're all like a certain kind of way. I feel like young man, you got to vote. Like, we're going to be like that. Cause I mean, it really, like I'm trying to learn about like just me and Des talk about this, like learn about like money and stuff like that. Like, I don't know everybody's background, but my family wasn't really, they didn't teach me nothing about saving or nothing like that. And in college, you don't really learn, like, if you're a student athlete, they don't teach you that. So I don't know, just educate us. Like, we're at that age, we got all the tools, like we can learn ourselves like how to do all that stuff. So I don't know. That's just something I as I get older, I'm thinking more and more about and just becoming more and more aware because no one's gonna hold your hand. You gotta figure it out.
Facts.
Absolutely. I agree with all that. Yeah, I think a good thing is that we it seems like everybody here is at least recognizing the fact that they've got steps to grow into and then attempting and trying to actually take steps forward in that position. Like, if we continue to stay ignorant, then, you know, we continue to be just as much a part of the problem. So I think what everybody's saying is like spot on. And it'll definitely, I think that's true as well. I think Gary has said it, like this moment here, and DG said it too, like this is literally going to be like 20, 30 years from now, they're going to look back at this like, whoa, y'all really, like all that, it's kind of crazy all the stuff that happened. It's like everybody was on lockdown and then this happened. It's like back to back. This stuff is like, I don't know, it's kind of crazy how it's all happening right at one moment. It's kind of stuff that we haven't really ever seen before. I don't know if the whole world has ever stopped for like 3-4 months. Like it was literally the entire world was on lockdown. I don't know if that's ever
This
happened.
has to be the craziest year ever. Like I
Yeah,
can't
it might
think
be.
of a year.
Outside of like
On every level, like every
or
level, like
Jesus Christ rose. That
man.
might have been the next greatest global event.
Right. Yeah, I'm not no conspiracy theorist or nothing, bro, but it's crazy to me how it's like coronavirus hit, everything shut down, can't go nowhere, but then somebody get killed, another black person get killed. Now everybody's out protesting.
Yeah.
We ain't heard nothing about no coronavirus outbreak. We ain't heard none of that stuff. So
Not yet.
Not yet.
Yeah, not yet. Yeah, see, Brent's nursing. She's seen it firsthand.
Right.
Man,
Gonna be doing overtime pretty soon.
I'm not looking forward to that at all.
Yeah, I try not to
Money,
get
money,
into that
money,
stuff and be thinking.
Oh, my life.
Yeah, fine.
I'm sorry, what'd you say?
No, I was just saying, like, I try not to get deep into that stuff because, like, I feel like I gotta make sure that I'm right. You know what I'm saying? Like, I gotta make sure that I'm good so that I can keep spreading awareness and, you know, just stay, because this stuff can drive you crazy. But as soon as you start like looking into all that stuff and trying to figure certain stuff out that you can't control, it start messing with your mind. So that's why I said, like, I don't really get into conspiracy theories or all that stuff, but it's just funny how we all
Be on YouTube for like 3 hours.
Exactly.
Man,
3 days.
Nah, real talk.
3 days.
Friday?
3 days.
Oh, I logged on Tuesday. Oh,
Right.
you've been the rabbit hole.
Like that Family Guy episode with Quagmire.
What have you been doing, Quagmire?
I internet.
Want to get my mail? Want to get my mail? That's
And his arm was so big.
Oh, his arm was jacked. Yo.
That's really that's how you be on the YouTube. You go into a dark hole.
You
Like,
on the rabbit hole.
Man.
And
Next
YouTube
thing
be
you know,
knowing too.
next
YouTube
thing
be
you know,
messing
you
with
come
you.
home.
They
Next
got
thing you
all
know,
the
you coming home.
links right underneath it.
Next thing you know, you come
Everything
home
right
like,
underneath.
babe, we can't go to Safeway. they said they didn't say it, and you parked this way and did this. It ain't
Did
good.
you tie your shoes crisscross? Did you double knot your shoes?
Right.
What are you doing?
Right.
Why are you lacing your shoes like that? Why are you lacing your shoes?
You'll be
Crazy, bro. But yeah,
So
I appreciate you letting me be on and we talking about it, because I think not only is it good for us to talk about it in terms of like letting people know, but it's also therapeutic. Because for me, I haven't talked about it much, and I kind of been trying to figure out a way to articulate it, because I wanted to go live and I didn't want to go live because I didn't know what to say. And there's just so many emotions, you feel me? So like I think this was good for me to be able to talk with some of my best friends, you know what I mean? To just, kind of air it out, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Not
Yeah.
necessarily find a solution, but to just kind of openly have a dialogue about it. So
Yeah.
Definitely.
Nah, I'm glad y'all got on. I'm glad that we got to do this. Like I said, I got it from one of my friends and we did it, and he did it with all his group of friends, and I was like, man, I think this would be good for us to do, just because, like you said, DG, it's therapeutic. It's something that we need to air out. I'm so used to. I think us as athletes, we're so used to compartmentalizing. I hope I'm saying that right.
you said, you good.
Right.
Yeah, we're so used to doing that, so we're so used to like you said, you just turn a cold shoulder to like, oh man, like okay, like go about I'm gonna go work out and go to the grocery store, do my thing here. That ain't got nothing to do with me. I'm just do this, and it's like, nah, I didn't want to do that on this one because I was like, man, like I ain't physically in it, but this has everything to do with part of who I am. You know what I'm saying? And got to be able to have this conversation because these are conversations that I'm going to have in my household, with my fiance, have conversation with my brother and my parents and with my son. So it's like, I got to be able to talk about it and be able to talk about it with you guys as well. You know what I mean? I don't want to be able to brush it under because it's like, the last thing I would want to see is one of y'all on that videotape. You know what I'm saying? Or anybody close to me.
Say that.
You know what I'm saying? Like, but that's what I'm saying. Like, it's a real
Nah,
thing.
for
It's
real,
like, man,
yeah.
like now it's like this is happening so much. I'm sure those people were thinking those same thing when it happened to him. And it's like, I was like, I'm in a workout. It was like, man, that's Steven Jackson's boy or brother or whatever. I'm like
Steven Jackson.
I'm sure,
He
man,
looked
it
just
did,
like
but
him, right?
dead on.
I'm
And he
sure
did
he
look
wasn't
just like
thinking.
It looked just like him.
I thought it was him at first.
Sure.
When they had the video of him, I was like, bro, what is Steven Jackson?
What is he doing?
Man. But I'm sure he's doing all his interviews and he does his podcast. I'm sure he's never thinking that would happen to him, and all of a sudden he sees that. That's you know what I'm saying? Like, that's crazy. So I'm like, man, like, we gotta be able to have this conversation.
What really scared me was the dog park thing with the lady calling the cops saying there's an African American man threatening. I was like, oh my
I didn't even see what was that? I didn't see that.
The lady
was choking her dog.
Yeah, there's like a guy who's bird watching in like a dog in Manhattan, and this lady had like a dog that was on a loose. He told her to put it on a leash, and they kind of got into it, and he started recording her, and she's like, I'm gonna call the cops and say that you're threatening me, blah blah blah. And he's like, call the cops, like I didn't do nothing, like blah blah blah. And in that park, you're not allowed to.
Distinctively said African American is.
Yeah, and then she called the cops, like, and she's on the phone, and she like changes her voice, and she's like, "There's an African American man, like blah blah blah, like threatening my life, like this and that." And I was just like watching it.
Wow.
While swinging her dog around, bro.
Yes, that was
trying to
crazy.
Yeah,
crazy.
And like, they know, and that's the thing is like.
Yeah. So don't act like you don't know.
Yeah,
they know, and that's the thing is like they almost can use it. They use it as a weapon, and that was like clear right then and there. Like, you got white privilege, you have like that kind of power. Like, I call the cop, tell them it's a black man.
They're gonna be me and not you. Yeah.
And it's like using that as a weapon.
That was a lot.
Yeah, do y'all know who that lady? I don't know her name, but this is one black lady, and I see her a lot. Kind of skinny chick, kind of like Brand's color, maybe a little bit, and kind of wears a ponytail. But she swears that white privilege doesn't exist.
Candace Owens.
Huh?
Candace Owens.
There you go.
Republican lady. Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
Like that.
Bro,
When I watch her videos, that's another thing with the rabbit hole. Like, I'll get sucked in listening to what she's saying and then I'll be so pissed off.
I get so mad.
Like watching like 2 or 3. Brand, have you seen her before?
No, and she looks like me. She's this color.
Like that
She
color, yeah.
low-key does actually.
I'm looking her up right now.
And
She
like
she is
literally,
definitely black.
she
Yeah.
doesn't believe that white privilege exists. And
I don't
she,
believe.
but the funny thing is, when it's her by herself, like I've seen videos of her like in court, and she gets it. They treat her a certain way because she's black, and she'll address it. And she'll be like, I'm articulating myself like an intelligent woman. I'm doing this, this, and this. And you guys shouldn't do that. You should be ashamed of yourself. But when it's other black people bring it up to her, it's like, no. That is false. It's falsery. Like it's not happening.
Where was she
And
raised?
she's like got a bunch. I don't know where she's from, but she got a bunch of followers on Instagram. Like
Something happened to her. Something happened to her because she's just
100%.
different. Like
She's getting paid. She's getting paid to do that. There's no way. Like
That's what I was
she's getting paid to do that.
Right.
she loves being
Cutting a
like
check.
the puppet. Like she loves being like all the
Yeah,
like white
that's what
Republican
that
dudes
is.
like they're
Right.
like, oh, see, like this black woman is with us. Like she's pro-Trump. Like she's got the same. We're not crazy. We're not racist because she's with us. Like
Right.
she loves being
Right.
like on their like being in their squad, but it's like they're not really for you. They're using
Heck
you.
no.
She loves the attention of that.
Yeah.
And she has hella followers because they're all like she's like their little beacon or whatever, but she's a trip.
Yeah.
Like honestly, I can't even sit through a full video. Like I seen some stuff today. Like I was reading some of her stuff and I was like, I can't even like I can't do it. It's too much.
Yeah, I doubt I ever watched anything
movie.
after hearing that.
Bro,
Nah,
she's crazy. She's on Insta. Yeah, she got Twitter, all that. She's
We
wild.
got all of that. What I will
That's
say,
There was
crazy.
a dude on today. Some black dude on CNN was like, the media hypes all these like police brutality cases up. It's like 90-some%. Like this doesn't really happen. It's just when it happens a few times, like it gets hyped up by the media. And it was funny because like the two other white people that were on the panel were like laughing, kind of like laughing at like the dude that was
I know
like,
what you're talking about.
kind of like, you know what I mean? He was
Yeah.
like, but they'll go to like you said, like they'll go to him and be like, see, he doesn't think there's anything wrong with it.
Hate that.
Like he don't speak for us. He don't speak for us.
Yeah,
Fuck
yeah,
that.
like Uncle Tom.
Right.
I know Jazz be mad.
I'll be tight. I'm like, man, I gotta see these people in person.
Right.
It's crazy though, bro, because there's real people out here that are thinking that though. Like they'll literally look at like think about us for instance. Like if we can operate in white rooms, call it like that. Like we go in a room with full of white people, we can be able to operate. But they'll look at us and be like, no, like like one, we're still different. Like I'm still different color than you guys, but they'll still look at me and be like, well, like, yeah, like Black Lives Matter, but all lives matter. But like, right, Abdul, like you get it. You get it. You're cool. Like what? Nah, don't do that. Like you know what I'm saying? Like they you know, they do their little pick and choose, or they try to like, it's like their way of like, no, I'm not racist, but like I'm friends with you. Like I'm cool with you. Like
I got a black couch.
like that. This is an open conversation about what's going on in the world. Like, this is an open conversation about what's going on in the world, and like you have to be able to understand that like you do have different privileges than me. You know what I mean? I didn't say that was your fault. I just said that that's just what's going on in the world. That's the system.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's all I'm saying. I ain't saying anything is your fault that you're out here killing people. I'm saying like you have to be able to recognize that you have different privileges than me. You know what I mean? You can walk into a different room and be treated differently than I am. You know what I'm saying? You can walk into a store and they're not going to be looking at you. I walk into the store and it's going to be eyes.
They're gonna be like,
you got to be able to understand.
Go on, there wasn't no trouble.
Right. Hurry up and buy.
But seriously,
Yo,
like,
I don't know
like,
if y'all talked about this. Yeah, I may have missed it.
yeah, we talked
you
about
guys
that.
talk.
Hey, Des.
That's what I figured. No, I'm glad y'all discussed it.
Nah, go, Dad, I'm joking.
Nah, did you guys talk about like how, like how you guys felt about if like white people that you guys know that are like silent about this?
No,
I mean,
Not
that-
directly, I don't think.
No, we didn't talk about that.
Nah, not directly.
Get your look. Des got,
Well,
you got something to say. Look, check this out. Check this out.
Speak on it. Speak on it, son.
Yeah, speak on it.
Preach. Come on, Des. Come with it.
Nah, I just wanted to know if y'all talked about it, and if y'all did or did not, like what were y'all thoughts on it? If y'all already talked about it.
I'll say this. I was talking to my, this is more like on a different take. Like I was talking to my sister-in-law the other day, and like she's white. One thing is like this is kind of from a different angle. She just doesn't know what to say. Like, and she's not the type to go on like Facebook rants and like stuff like that. And she's like, I want to, like, we just had a conversation. She's like, I want to help. Like, I'm for this, but I don't know what to do. And I don't know what to say. And I don't know, like, I'm not going to sit here and act like I understand like what you go through and stuff like that. But like, how do I support? Like, how do I, and I've heard that from a few different people. And I don't know, I was just talking to her about like, just like just listening or reaching out to like your friends that are like Black, like people like, I know I've gotten like texts and calls from people just being like, are you okay? And I'm like, dang, like it's just that they're thinking about me. I thought that was kind of dope. That's on the flip side. I know Des was trying to take it another direction because we talked about this.
I honestly just wanted to know what you guys thought, because I've talked to about
breaking up, not
We had
making
a
friends
teammate.
on Facebook, getting in fights.
we had a
DMs.
conversation about it. We had a teammate who we played with at St. Mary's who he jumped in my DMs about his take. And so we've had
that
a
was the wrong
conversation
DMs
about
to
it.
jump in.
I mean,
You let them have it, bro.
he didn't respond.
So you just hit the high road.
Once, and then
His phone blew up.
I just want to know what y'all thought about it.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I don't, like I said, I don't really trip. If I see somebody that's on my timeline that's white that puts something in, cool. I do unfollow and block people for certain stuff. Like if they white and they, like I've had some people that were like Husky fans that are on my page, like I friended, and I've gone down and they had like the Trump stuff, Make America Great Again, and all that kind of stuff. And within these situations that talk about, you know, the opposite and why are they doing this? And they should be like, no, you'll get unfollowed and blocked real quick. Because again, for me, it's like more protecting my spirit. You know what I mean? 'Cause
Yeah, personal.
you continue to, like, for me, it's like when I'm scrolling, you see that stuff over and over and over and over, and then it kind of does something to you, bro. Like it
does.
It gets in you, and then now you go to work. I'm with my wife, and I'm mad for no reason, or I snap on you because I'm seeing all this racist stuff down my timeline. You know what I mean? So I kind of try to guard myself and try to stay away from it. But I feel Des on it because some people are arrogant and they do have certain things to say on it. And it's like, bro, number one, I didn't ask you. And number two, you know, show some empathy, be sympathetic to what Black people are dealing with. Not even me. I don't care if you're empathetic towards me. Be empathetic towards my people. Because this is happening to all of us. You feel me? So that's pretty much how I feel about it.
Nah, that's real, DG. You gotta guard them gates.
It's a pattern too. I feel like the same people that don't rock with the Mexicans and don't want the wall are the same people that don't care about dudes getting killed in the street. Like it's obviously like there's a pattern. Like it's not like
right.
Like it's not. You just don't care about people at the end of the day. Like
yeah,
you just don't. I don't know. In a certain sense, like I feel like I'm not going to convince somebody with that kind of mindset, or they think that way, or they're just different. Like I can't convince nobody. I'm not going to change nobody's whatever. Like I try to understand it to an extent, but I'm like, I can't. It's just different. Like different principles, values, morals. Like it's just not the same. Like I don't know what to tell you. Like.
Right.
I feel like getting in arguing with them is not even worth like what you said, like with your spirit. Like I'm like, I don't know. That'll just be wasting my time. Like I love to listen or talk to people from the other side if they're willing to listen and talk too, because I find it interesting just to hear how they think. Like I like people that don't like me or they're like, I'm like, you think Trump did a good job during COVID? Like explain. I'm confused. Like I'm trying to understand you, but like when people you can tell when somebody's willing to learn or listen, and it's okay. You don't got to agree with everything I think, and I don't got to agree with everything you think, but I don't know. There's certain people it's not even worth it. It's not even worth engaging.
Right. To your point, I can only talk to people if it's that kind of conversation.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Talk and I can say my piece, you say your piece. Oh, why do you feel like that? Wow, really? Okay, I understand. Not the, you think, oh my God. Like, I'm not gonna go back.
Everything.
We can shut this down. We don't have to talk about it. We talk about something else.
Yeah, because then there's no acknowledgement of like wanting to hear somebody else. Man. Like,
Exactly.
man, like I want to hear what you got to think. It's not about like them being right. Like, man, I got to hear what they say first. What are they thinking? Then maybe they might say something, be like, dang, like they might be able to open my mind up to something else. Like, okay, all right, I can see it that way. But you got to be able to be willing to be open to that. And if you're not, if you're going to be closed-minded, it's hard to have conversations with those people. So it's like I'm talking to a brick wall at this point. I said something and it's just gone. At that point,
we all know them type of people.
Ooh. Tough. So it's a waste of time at that point.
Right.
I really want to know what Dad said to dude in the DMs.
Brandon?
Screenshot, Dad.
Yeah, read it off. Why don't you?
Well, I wanted to hear Brandon.
What did you say in the Bible?
I do want to hear what Brent has to say because Brent has to work with a ton
of white,
with a lot, right? Of Caucasian descent.
You know, that has changed being over here on the East Coast, thankfully. But I don't know. I feel like I was born and raised around it, but I don't really have much to say on that. I don't have a lot of friends in the last week that have reached out. I had 2 of them actually reach out today and ask me just how I was doing. But I've seen them post things, and I think that I don't have any far left friends. So I think that they at least, I won't use the word understand, but they see it, so they can at least acknowledge it. But one thing I was thinking about is just like the platform that we have. We've been talking a lot about social media and how we've been talking to people and what we've been seeing each other post and how we unfollow people or things like that. I think just being careful with and acknowledging the platform that we have, because I think all of us have different platforms and reach different people. But also, y'all were talking about what's her name, Candace? Something like that. But like you had mentioned how many followers she has. Now, are these people that are following her because they actually agree with her, or they're following her just because they want to hear what she has to say? Because if her profile's open, you can go and watch what she has to say without following her. Because if someone sees, oh, this person's following her, now she's got such and such amount of people that's following her, maybe I should follow her too. And I think that raises her level. Like when people look at her, it might put her on a pedestal of like, oh, I should be following her too. And it glorifies like where she's coming from. But if it's something that you're interested in, you just go look at it. It's different from like actually following her. So I think just kind of being careful with how much social media plays into our lives nowadays, where we give our time and our energy, and that follow to is also important.
For sure. It's a great point.
Okay then, Brand. What, you preaching on Sunday? Or what
Wow.
Actually,
Wow.
no.
Brand pulling up.
You.
Why y'all growing up, man? It's crazy.
Yeah, old man.
Hush.
But yeah, I'm glad we got on the phone. I'm more than willing to do this again if y'all want to. or like we could talk about the stuff going on. We could talk about whatever. Like I just thought that this was big, just to do like to talk to my close friends because I love y'all. I appreciate you guys, and like this is the thing that like hit home for me. And I'm like, man, I gotta be able to talk to my friends and like get this out, but also hear them as well. You know what I'm saying? Because I know y'all gonna give me different perspective in every way. So yeah, that's really why we got on this phone call.
Well,
we can
and
wrap
I
it
think
up.
a lot of us said that we're
Scott,
still. Go ahead.
Huh?
I know Scott got to go ahead and hit the hay.
Baby.
Cairo's
Yeah,
like,
that's
come on,
two hours past my bedtime.
I need that bedtime story before I go to sleep.
Right. I think Brent was saying something.
I was just gonna say a lot of us said that we were still processing and working through how we feel. So I feel like if we kind of came together in like a week or 2 weeks just to reconvene, fill it out, talk about it again, I think that'd be good.
Yeah.
Down with that.
I'm definitely down.
Cool.
I love y'all, man.
For sure.
I love
Love you too, bro.
you too.
Love y'all.
Yeah. Hey, nice to meet you. Nice to meet you, G.
Nice to
Yeah.
meet you.
Yeah.
Hey, if you guys put your name in the group chat just so I could figure out who's who, like the numbers.
All right.
Get your gadgets.
Hey, y'all be safe out there.
That was all. He said, no, they you don't need these gadgets. All right, y'all. I'll meet y'all later, man.
I'll be
All right.
love you.
All right.
Y'all be safe. Love you.
Love you.